Live from your local election headquarters at the 22 News Broadcast Center, this is an Agawam mayoral debate. And now, here's Rich Teddemer.
Good afternoon and welcome to a special Your Election Headquarters presentation. I'm Rich Teddemer. 22 News has been working for you with a series of debates among candidates running for mayor in local cities. And today we conclude our debate series with the candidates running for mayor of Agawam. And joining me in studio today is Incumbent Mayor Bill Sapelli and challenger Charlie Alvanos. We will begin with opening statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute to make an opening statement. And by virtue of a drawing, Charlie Alvanos, you get to go first. 1 minute.
Thank you to Channel 22, Rich Teddemer, Mr. Sapelli, and the viewing audience. My name is Charlie Alvanos, and I'm a 38-year Agawam resident and the proud father of 3 Agawam High School graduates and the proud grandfather of Evelyn, who attends Phelps School. I'm running for mayor to bring my successful and unique and diverse background and skill set to the mayor's office. I'm a former United States Marine, a 14-year educator in the Springfield Public Schools, past president of the Springfield Education Association, owner and founder of Alvanos and Associates, a financial planning practice of Ameriprise Financial with 37 years of business experience in Agawam, Massachusetts. As a business owner and financial advisor, I have successfully helped clients, businesses, small business owners achieve and succeed in developing their financial goals and accomplishments. I'll bring this skill set to the mayor's office, and I'm looking forward to use that unique skill set as a business owner to help people achieve their goals.
That's your time, Mayor. Okay. Mr. Alvanos. Mr. Mayor, you get 1 minute for an opening statement.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Channel 22, WWLP, and Rich Teddemer for sponsoring this debate. My name is Bill Sapelli. I've been the mayor of Agawam for the past 4 years, and I'm looking forward to another 2 years. I'm running for another 2 years. And during that period of time, those last 4 years, we have accomplished a lot in Agawam with regard to infrastructure, with regard to public safety, and with regard to the attention we've given to our seniors, our senior population. And we did all this through a pandemic, which was absolutely totally unexpected and brought on its own challenges, which I'm sure we will probably be getting into during the question and answer period. So I'm looking forward to this debate. I'm looking forward to answering these questions, which may delve into a little deeper into some of the things that have been going on here in Agawam and will continue to go on during the future. So thank you.
Thank you. And now we move on to the question and answer portion of our debate. I'll ask a question. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond. The order of questions was determined by a drawing, and Mayor Bill Sapelli, you get to answer the first question first. And as you mentioned, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected all communities, including Agawam. How would you characterize the town's response to the COVID-19 pandemic when it comes to controlling the spread of the virus and encouraging vaccination, and what needs to be done over the next 2 years?
Agawam hit the ground running. We were very fortunate. Before they went to the regional vaccine centers, Agawam volunteered to be one of those distributing communities that would give, if you remember, they put the vaccine out in stages. The first stage was first responders. Agawam volunteered through the help of the Bethany Assembly of God. We use that as a site for first responders, not only Agawam, but Westfield, East Long Meadow, and the hill towns. We vaccinated all those first responders. The next wave came as seniors, 65 and older. We were able to get vaccines from the state. We implemented vaccinations to all the seniors. And until they came in with the regional centers, we were ready and prepared to continue that service for our particular group of people that we have here in Agawam. The educational system, we were one of the first to get students back in front of teachers. And that's a very important thing. Moving forward, that's our focus. We have to try to make sure that we get vaccinated to 80% where we can get kids back without masks and get rid of the masks in school so that they can have a normal education experience.
Charlie, get to answer the question now. When it comes to the pandemic and controlling the spread of the virus and encouraging vaccination, what needs to be done over the next 2 years?
I think there needs to be more transparency between the electorate, the parents, and local government. I think there needs to be more open communication between the administration and the school children and local business owners. I think that the communication between the mayor's office, I found in discussing that issue with parents, was lacking. They felt that they needed to have more communication, more questions and answers regarding the safety and the efficiency of of achieving and getting the vaccine, to students or to seniors and to the Agawam electorate. I feel that, moving forward, I think it's very important that we become one of the first communities to achieve 80% so that we can unmask our students and get them into the classrooms without masks, to get back to more formalized education, to make it more comfortable for students and make it a more beneficial learning environment for our students.
And you get the next question first.
Well, thank you.
Home prices and rents have been heading upwards throughout the country, and Agawam is no exception. With housing costs so high, many communities have been looking to create more affordable housing. There has been a plan for affordable housing on Mill Street, but construction has not yet begun. Do you think Agawam needs more affordable housing? And if so, how should the town go about creating that opportunity?
Yes, I think affordable housing is a must. I think it's very important. I think it's a mandate by the state that we have a certain percentage of affordable housing available in our community. I think making housing affordable is an imperative to bring new and young families into our community. And that with the high cost of housing, I think it's very, very important that we educate the electorate in terms of, the best ways to buy a home, more efficient ways, to work with realtors and local business owners in trying to, come up with housing solutions. So I think affordable housing is important, and there are areas in Agawam where I think we can provide, some affordable housing. I'm looking at the Agawam corridor, the Games and Lanes, former bowling alley and recreational center. I think that could be a possible ideal site to add additional housing. Looking at the golf course that we have, not the golf course, but the...
That is time.
That is
right
time.
Now. Okay,
well,
you've got a minute, okay? We'll get back to you on that. You get to answer this question as well. Do you think Agawam needs more affordable housing? If so, how should the town go about creating that opportunity?
I do think Agawam needs more affordable housing. My spin on that is we are different than a lot of communities in the Commonwealth in that we have a large percentage of senior population. I think we need affordable housing for seniors. As you alluded to earlier, we do have a program coming in on Mill Street coming this spring. They're going to break ground. That's for family housing. We also have some other family housing complexes in town. I think our focus should be on affordable senior housing, which I'm going to be pursuing. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting next week with a group of developers that do that, and we're looking to do something hopefully in town, possibly at that Games and Lane site. We have talked about that. I've been working with that owner of that property who has not developed that presently because that was a staging area for the bridge project. But moving forward, we're looking to do some senior affordable housing in Agawam. I think that's a dire need for our community.
Speaking of the bridge project, that's our next question. And Mayor Sapelli, you get to answer that first. The Morgan-Sullivan Bridge reconstruction project was a necessary state-run project, but came at a cost for businesses and residents on both sides of the river, both in Agawam and West Springfield. How would you characterize the town government response to the construction, particularly for those who live and own businesses near the bridge?
That particular construction was just phenomenal. Usually when you have a project of that magnitude, there's a lot of disruptions. I can't tell you how smooth that project went. And through the cooperation of the state and because of relationships with the governor's office, we were able to have the governor's office work with Northern Construction and give them $1.2 million to expedite the completion of that bridge. And as everybody knows, not only did that bridge come in at cost, but it also got finished a year earlier because all the work behind the scenes with the governor's office to give that incentive. That project is immensely controlled in the Agawam area and has immensely improved safety for children walking to and from Deering School and Robinson Park School. And during the Big E, as everybody couldn't wait to tell me, that was seamless with the traffic that went through there. And they had record crowds, so it wasn't as if the crowds were down. So we were very pleased with that project.
Charlie Alvanos, your thoughts on the Morgan-Sullivan Bridge project, and how would you characterize the response to the construction, and particularly for those who live and own businesses in that area?
Very good question. The Morgan project was a state fund project, and it was administered and funded by the state with the cooperation of the local communities of West Springfield and Agawam. A lot of the business owners have expressed to me, especially, a couple of business owners where they put the median, not allowing access to several businesses to enter their businesses. There are a couple of gas stations that you can only access one way. There's the laundromat that you cannot access from either side. There's no entryway to those businesses. And they were affected, and they were complaining that they weren't given ample opportunity to give their views in terms of accessibility to the businesses. And the businesses on the Agawam Walnut Street corridor were also affected due to some of the delays. But kudos to the state and to the town of Agawam and West Springfield, because broadening the Memorial Bridge was a godsend to the Big E and to the community.
That is time. We and next question, though, you get to answer that first. Okay. We did receive multiple complaints over the summer regarding traffic heading to Six Flags. That happens every summer. And there are also traffic backups that extended from West Springfield to Agawam during the Big E. What can the town do to mitigate some of those traffic issues surrounding these popular attractions?
Well, we have to have more meaningful discussions with the owners of Six Flags. We have to provide other means of addressing the parking issues. Perhaps the Twin Silos property could be a means of allowing extra parking facilities. But we need other means of protecting the citizenry as they cross into Six Flags. I think more foot patrols by the Agawam police, a more effective presence by our police department to help mitigate the traffic flow and to make it more safe for our young people and for members of the community.
Mayor Sapelli, you're talking about traffic backups. What can the town do to mitigate some of these traffic issues surrounding those popular attractions?
We did have a couple of issues this summer, and one of the major issues was one of those first good weekends we had in July. As we all know, we had 21 days of rain in July. We had one break in a weekend where it was absolutely gorgeous weather, and we had quite a crowd going to Six Flags. And if everybody remembers, obviously, from the pandemic, they weren't able to use their passes the year before. So what Six Flags did, which was a good move, they let those people that had passes from the year before use those again because they couldn't use them that year, and they had additional passes given out. So they had an abundance of people that had passes for the Six Flags. When that issue happened, we were contacted by Six Flags. We strategized with our police department ways of solving the problem. One of them was to open up more parking lots. One of them was to use the exit, because in the morning when you arrive, there aren't people coming out. So we used an exit to enter those parking lots and got the cars off the street, and that was a big difference in the traffic flow there. And we worked closely with putting additional police officers in the sheriff's department on as guiding traffic. So that solved that problem for us.
Okay, gentlemen, we reached the halfway point of today's debate. We'll be right back after a short break with more questions for the candidates running for mayor of Agawam. You're watching 22 News. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, today 22 News is hosting a debate between the candidates running for mayor of Agawam. Here in studio are incumbent Mayor Bill Sapelli and challenger Charlie Alvanos. We're working with questions right now for the candidates, and Mayor Sapelli will get to answer the next question first. Several Western Massachusetts communities, including nearby West Springfield and Long Meadow, have built new high schools in recent years. The Agawam High School building dates back to the 1950s and is in need of some repair. Do you support building a new Agawam High School, even with state funding, and how much would you be willing to pay for such a project?
We are actually in the process. We started the process back in April, and the process involves contacting the Mass School Building Authority, MSBA, and entering and applying. It's a competitive application for that grant, and the MSBA is the granting authority in the state, and right now the percentage is around 60% of the total cost that they will reimburse Agawam for if selected. We were one of 30 communities that put in for a new high school. We were whittled down, now 12, so we are in the process. We're in phase 1, which is the eligibility stage, which means we had to just recently, as of October 1st, submit a building committee list to them. We are also in the process of getting a resolution passed by the City Council to fund the design stage of that. So we're in that process. We absolutely need a school. It's 60 plus years old, 65 and change, and we're looking forward to that process. It's a lengthy process, but we're looking forward to it.
Charlie, we're talking about building a brand new Agawam High School. Even with state funding, how much would you be willing to pay for such a project?
Yeah, I'm a very strong proponent of a new high school. You mentioned earlier about property values and the increasing cost of housing, and having a preeminent high school, one that is technologically in tune to the 21st century, I think is a major imperative. We've been on the forefront of promoting a new high school. We think it's essential to our community, and we think when people look at buying properties in a community, the two things that they look at primarily are the schools and the efficiency of the schools, fire and police safety. So I believe that we could have promoted the new high school a little earlier and been more on the forefront. And many of the communities did in the past receive 80% funding for schools. And I would try to increase the percentage from the 60 to a much higher percentage to make it more feasible for our community.
Charlie, get the next question first. Most Agawam residents are connected to the town sewer system, but not some in Feeding Hills. Getting everyone connected could cost tens of millions of dollars. Is this a project you would want the town to undertake, and if so, how will it be paid for?
Great question. This has been one of the leading issues that many of the constituents of Agawam have brought to my attention, that they are not connected to the sewer system. When I attended a number of the town budget meetings, there was not much of a discussion or a master plan as to how to achieve that. I think it's very, very important that we provide sewers, that we get our constituents connected. And I think with the influx of hundreds of millions of dollars in federal monies that are going to be available, I think it's an opportunity and a challenge for Agawam to access those dollars. What we need is a grants manager. We don't currently have a grants manager to access those funds, to be proactive in trying to get those monies into our community. So I think we have to be on the forefront in helping our neighbors and put ourselves in their place if we did not have proper connection to the sewers.
Mayor Sapelli, we're talking about connecting everyone to the sewer system, especially in Feeding Hills. Is this a project that you want the town to undertake, and if so, how will it be paid for?
This is a project that's been in the works for a long time. The biggest concern, as you indicated, is the funding of it. This project is broken down into 5 stages. Phase 1 has been completed, was completed several years ago, and they didn't get to phase 2 because of funding. Right now, to complete phase 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's approximately $50 million by today's dollars. That amount leads to a huge problem. Where's the money coming from, as you indicated? Right now, there is monies available through the Rescue Act. Massachusetts is right now going to be freeing up $3.6 billion. So what I've done recently is I contacted our state rep, our state senator. We put together a plan of the needs of Agawam. The sewer is one of them. It's a big ask, but with that kind of money we're putting in for it, The most they can say is no, and we're hoping that we get some positive results from that money and that we could possibly expand that sewer project, which is already designed and ready to go if we have the proper funding. So we're hoping for that. We're keeping our fingers crossed.
Mayor Sapelli, you get the next question first. The Vietnam Veterans Bridge, commonly known as the Strathmore Bridge, is an important crossing between Agawam and West Springfield. But the crossing is often obstructed by train traffic on the West Springfield side of the bridge. This is an issue that has been the source of numerous traffic complaints over the years, and there's now a signal system in place to warn drivers of train obstructions. But can anything more be done to alleviate this problem?
That has been a problem, and that's been a problem for several years. And lately, in the last 5 or 6, it seems to be even a worse problem, because not only does it go through there and stop traffic, but it actually stops. They have a rail yard in West Springfield on Memorial Avenue that hooks up the different cars. And obviously, they make money. The more money they make is based on the number of cars in that run. So they're putting as many cars as they can. Mayor Reichelt and I have discussed this. We've had meetings with this over the last 3 or 4 years since I've been in office. And we've talked to the federal agencies, we've talked to the state, we've talked to the local, and we did get those blinking lights put in during this bridge construction, which helps people see that there is a train there so they don't go in that direction. But this is a major, major concern. Dealing with the federal government and trying to get the transportation people to listen to our concerns is a problem. We're continuing to work on that as we speak, and hopefully we'll see some results soon. But they need to make alternative arrangements for those trains, because that is a major safety issue as well.
Charlie, we're talking about the Strathmore Bridge and the traffic problems that come from that with the long trains going through there from West Springfield. Can anything more be done to alleviate this problem?
Yeah, that's a major nuisance. It has been for many, many years. It's both a safety issue as well as a traffic congestion issue. I think perhaps we can have more of a signaling system, one that approaches that traffic malaise a little sooner, to warn people, because what happens is you'll have people go down to that railway track and there's a long line of about 20 or 30 cars, and if there was a preceding warning system prior to the current one, it might be an inducement for people to take other venues. I think we have to work more closely with the railway system to see if we can, be more proactive in finding other solutions to make it more efficient and more safe for our residents and for the people that traverse across that track.
Okay, candidates, we have 30 seconds now for a response. It's the last question of the debate, so 30 seconds, Charlie. An effort has been made over the past few years to improve the Walnut Street extension, and that has included the demolition of the old Agawam Motor Lodge and the Games and Lane building. How would you characterize the progress that has been made on revitalizing this key commercial area of Agawam, and what else can be done to boost area businesses?
I've been a major proponent of improving the Agawam Walnut Street corridor. That's a main entrance into our town, and I've been a major proponent of redeveloping the games and lanes, either for senior housing and for businesses on the lower level. That's an area that's been a visual nightmare for the town. I think making it more aesthetically pleasing would be very beneficial for the community and for the businesses located there.
That's a tough answer in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You're right about
Did
that.
I do all right?
Mayor Sapelli, though, let's talk about that. Revitalizing that commercial area of Agawam. What else can be done to boost area businesses?
I'm looking forward to developing those two areas you talked about, Games and Lanes and the old Motel Getty Station. Covest owns that corner property across from Rockies, and what they were using that for was staging areas. When they had the construction site for the bridge, they needed areas to put their equipment. So they used those two areas for staging areas, so they really couldn't sell them. Nobody would want to start developing them with a bridge in progress. So now that that's done, we're looking forward to moving those two properties. I know there's some genuine concerns, and there's some plans in effect for Covest property that I've been working closely with that'll be coming through shortly.
Okay, gentlemen, we're nearing the end of today's debate. We now move to closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute to make a closing statement, and the order was determined by virtue of a drawing. And Mayor Sapelli, you get to make the first closing statement.
Well, thank you once again, 22 News and Rich Teddemer, for sponsoring this particular debate. This election coming up for mayor is a very, very important one, because you're going to be deciding who the person is going to be leading this town for the next 2 years. I've been the mayor for the last 2 years. I think the town has gone in a very positive direction. We've got a lot of things accomplished with regard to infrastructure needs, public safety, our police, adding fire and police personnel, the seniors, getting the vaccines done, our educational system, pursuing this new high school. All these things have been done. They've been done in conjunction with work that has been done between the mayor's office and state and local elected officials. You can't do this in isolation as one person. The mayor gets a lot of credit for a lot of things that get accomplished in Agawam, but the mayor doesn't do it alone. Without the work and cooperation of the city council and the state governor's office, we couldn't get these things done. So I think it's important you have someone in the office that has those relationships with people and that can expand upon those to get more things done in Agawam. I think we're going in a positive direction, and I would appreciate your vote on November 2nd so we can continue to move Agawam in this positive direction. Thank you.
Charlie Alvanos, your closing statement, 1 minute.
Again, thank you to Channel 22, Mr. Sapelli, and the Agawam constituency that's been watching this debate. Agawam has been a wonderful community to live in and raise a family over these past 38 years. We have a lot to be proud of and a lot to enjoy about our town, yet there is still a lot that we can accomplish. I feel that the current leadership has been rather lackluster and lacks the vision to move our town forward. I plan to bring my background, my experience, my leadership skills as both an educator, a successful business owner, and family man to our town to provide a higher level of transparency to the mayor's office and to our government, a more responsive and responsible government for our citizens, a forward-looking vision for our community, for our schools, a master plan that does not currently exist for our businesses and neighborhoods, a problem-solving mentality to the challenges that lay ahead. I know that under my leadership that we can do better. I thank you for listening to this debate and look forward to your vote on November 2nd.
Gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today's debate. We would like to thank Mayor Bill Sapelli and Charlie Alvanos for joining us today. If you missed any of today's debate, it will be available in its entirety on our website at wwlp.com. There you'll also find all the other local mayoral debates. Election Day is Tuesday, November 2nd. Make sure you have your voice heard. I'm Rich Tedimer. Have a good afternoon. See ya.